Helmets are for safety. Welcome back to Random, and today I'm back here at Hill Aerospace Museum. We're going to be talking today about the Briton cycle, otherwise known as the constant pressure cycle for jet engines. But first, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and if you enjoy groovy tunes and cold beverages, check out Beer and Song of the Day. The link to that channel will be in the description below. And check out Scoop the Avenger on Twitch. He's a friend of the channel. Support him, help him out. It would help us out a great deal too. Now, the Briton cycle, what is it? It's how a jet engine produces power and produces thrust. Now, like I said, it's a constant pressure cycle. So what happens is air will come in through the inlet here at the front of the motor, front of the engine, I should say. And as it travels down, it'll go through several stages of compression, starting with the fan, which is about right here. Compressor section all the way to, it's quite an old engine, so it's quite a bit larger and quite a bit longer than modern engines, but the fan section would start at the front. That's where the first stage of compression begins. Right here you see the exit of the fan section right here. In here you would also see the start of the compressor section. So it's compressing, it's compressing, it's compressing, it's compressing until it gets to about here where the combustion chamber is. Now this particular engine would probably have the can annular type combustion chamber. Basically, as the air is coming in, it's getting compressed and compressed and compressed. It's getting channeled into individual containers that are also in basically a larger container, and that's where the combustion happens. So in each of those different cans, the individual components or the individual chambers, they'll spray in fuel, and that fuel will be ignited and it'll continue on down. And as it expands, as it burns, it'll hit the turbine section, and the turbine will spin the compressor and the fan, and that's how the engine will turn. That's how the compression happens, that's how the combustion happens, and so on and so forth, and as the process continues. Now, why is it constant pressure? Well, aside from the fuel pump, the hydraulic pump, the oil pump, and the bleed air system, there are no valves in this engine. So there's no exhaust valve, there's no intake valve, there's none of that. So like I said, as the air is coming through the engine, it's constantly being compressed and compressed and compressed. It's also being slowed down. As this aircraft, the KC-135 in this example, is traveling along at, say, Mach 0.5. It's pretty fast for an aircraft, which this aircraft can actually do quite a bit faster. Of course, after which it would need some pretty hefty inspections. But it's traveling along, Mach 0.5. Well, that air coming into the intake of the engine is traveling at Mach 0.5 as well. It has to slow down so the engine can actually breathe it. So let's take a look here at the air inlet again, the engine inlet. And what you'll notice is the diameter here starts going down in size. Now that increases air velocity, as you know, of Bernoulli's principle. Well, past this block right here, you'll see the intake actually start to widen out. So this is what's called a converging, diverging engine air inlet duct. So again, as the air is coming in, it's going to speed up just a little bit as it goes in, so Mach 0.5 plus a little bit. And as it gets further into the inlet, you'll notice that again that the engine air duct will actually start to expand a little bit. So that air, instead of going 0.5 Mach plus, 0.5 Mach plus a little bit, slows down to just under 0.5 Mach. Now that helps the fan blades move the air. It helps the fan blades compress it. It helps it get directed to the core of the engine where the combustion can actually start taking place. Now remember, as the air is moving, okay, so it's past the fan, it's past the first stage of compressors, it's past the second stage, it's going towards the combustion chamber, that pressure is going up, 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 and up. And once it hits the combustion chamber, as it starts burning jet fuel, the pressure will again spike a little bit and then stay consistent in the combustion chamber. Yes, the pressure will go up a little bit higher than it would without the jet fuel. But here's the thing, it stays up. Whereas a common internal combustion engine, like say your car, as it's on the compression stroke, the compression's going up, 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 and up, and then once it hits the ignition and the piston starts going down, the pressure spikes and then goes down as the piston is being pushed down on the crank. That doesn't happen here. The pressure, again, remains constant pressure cycle. So, as the expanding gases are coming out of the combustion section, they strike against the turbines, and the turbines spin, and that's how the engine gets its rotation. Now, this is very likely a split spool engine. What I mean by split spool is, it has two separate shafts that rotate inside the engine assembly. So, theoretically, the fan section and the and half of the compressor section, the fan and half of the compressor, are spinning at a different rate than the rest of the compressor and one of the turbines. That's what we call a coaxial system. Now, a big problem with that is when you have the two sides of the engine, the two sections, spinning at different RPMs. Yes, they're going to spin at different RPMs simply because they aren't connected by a common shaft. I want to say the over-under is 10% RPM across each section. So let's say N1, that is your fan stage and your compressor. That's technically your cold turbine. It's basically the second turbine in this engine. We'll say N1 is spinning at 50,000 RPMs. And N2, that is turbine number 1, that is your gas generator turbine. That's connected to the rest of the compressor through up to, I want to say, stage 8 or 9 on the compressor section. So from stage 8 and on, that's compressor stage 2, N2. So that spins at, instead of 50,000 RPMs, it's spinning at 38,000 RPMs. That's quite a bit of difference. That's what we call split needles. That's basically half your engine running faster than the other half, and when that happens, you end up with something called compressor stall. That's when the combustion gases in the combustion chamber no longer has the adequate pressure from the compressor section, and the added pressure of the burning gases and the burning fuel then travels forward in the engine. So it goes from the combustion chamber into the compressor, forward and forward and forward and forward, until the fire comes out of the front of the engine and you have compressor stall and the engine shuts down. Now, that can happen with modern engines. There's a recent video of a C-17 at McCord Air Force Base where it landed and it was thrust reversing on the runway, and as it was doing that, it had a compressor stall and the engine shot fire through the front of the motor. Didn't really hurt a whole lot. More of an inconvenience. Yes, it required a lot of inspections. Yes, it was a kind of a pain, but ultimately it really didn't hurt more than you think it did. Now, compressor stall can also happen on turboprop and turboshaft engines, just as helicopter pilots. Usually when that happens is they're pulling up on the collective and they're changing the angle of attack on the entire aircraft, and the air's not getting into the engine fast enough, and of course combustion makes its way forward and stalls out the compressor, and boom, suddenly they lose an engine and then they have to get back to the ground real quick. Let's see, is there anything else I want to talk about of this particular engine or the Briton cycle? I don't think so. I think I've pretty much covered it. If you learned anything in this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Tell my editor what he's doing wrong because he's a lazy bum. Tell me what I'm doing right, and be sure to comment on whether or not I should do a channel specifically devoted to machinery, engines, and the physics involved in how those machines operate and do what they do. Tell us what we're doing right. Like I said, check out the different channels that I suggested to you below, and as always, keep it random.